finding work in radio, networking and unpaid creative labour. In this presentation, I'll just go through who Robin Wallace is, the person I interviewed, unpaid creative labour, networking and creating contacts, and freelancing. So for my presentation, I interviewed Robin Wallace. She is a University of Creative Arts graduate. She studied journalism and now she's a producer on BBC Radio Essex on the Tony Fisher afternoon show after being offered a job there from 2 weeks work placement through her university course. She also took part in other work placements before landing her job in places such as BFBS in Aldershot, where she was trained to be a reporter and a presenter, and Gateway FM in Basildon. Cunningham, in the International Journal of Cultural Policy, stated that the informal social processes involved in finding or creating creative work are key barriers to breaking into a creative career, because finding or creating work is often contingent on who you know in various ways, and much is dependent on experience and quality of previous work outputs. It can take a significant length of time to become established. This means that work and projects usually come about through who you know. This is through making contacts and networking in the industry. In Robin's case, the work placement at the BBC was set up through her course at university, and therefore her lecturers presented to her this opportunity. Although this didn't come about through industry contacts directly, she landed this placement and opportunity through the help of somebody who has sufficient knowledge about the radio industry, and therefore this highlights how easy it is to break through these barriers of getting your foot through the door when you know the right people. Although Robin was at university and was studying for her degree when she was given the opportunity for work placement, she didn't fully have her degree when she was offered the job. Bordeaux, in Cultural Theory and Anthology, stated that cultural capital may be institutionalised in the form of educational qualifications. This means that to promote social mobility, qualifications gained from, for example, university, can be utilised in order to find a career. Furthermore, Commune states that the creative industries have been praised as one of the UK's fastest growing sectors, with an average of an annual growth of 8%, with just over half of the Bohemian graduates find a job in the creative industries or in a creative occupation. Unpaid creative labour. Robin said that whilst at uni she did free work for about 6 months at BFBS, which is a garrison radio station. She was trained to be a reporter and a presenter while she was there, and she was learning about this at the time while she was at uni, so she was able to learn the practical side of things while also learning the theory side of things while at uni. The experience at BFBS allowed her to learn how to use a variety of recording equipment and the way that she should be using it. But working there made her realise that being a presenter wasn't really what she wanted to do, so this allowed her to experience the career path, but also allowed her to make the decision regarding what she really wanted to do. Robin took part in these work experiences to build up her portfolio, which is not uncommon of those who are trying to get into this particular industry. To support this, Cunningham said that workers undertake portfolio careers, compromising piecemeal creative and non-creative jobs, and tend to undertake short-term project-based and self-employment-based work. This is usually the route that those who are starting out in the radio industry take, because it's very difficult to find staff jobs than it is to go out of your way to find projects to work on with other people in similar situations to yourself. Although Robin was very lucky to get a job at BBC Essex through work experience, Communion in the journal Unrewarded Careers in the Creative Class, The Strange Case of Bohemian Graduates, noted that despite their role in fostering local development, Bohemian graduates seem to struggle in finding well-paid and stable positions in the labour market. Freelancing. Although Robin is employed by the BBC, she is also a freelancer. This gives her the ability to work on projects outside of the BBC if she wishes to, and that means that she isn't tied to one company. Talking about freelancing and getting into projects, she said this industry is about pushing yourself and being the person that people are looking to work with. Persistence is key. She recalled the countless times that she applied for positions and how she would tweak her application to fit this criteria. This can be backed up by Stuart Cunningham's idea in the International Journal of Cultural Policy. Insecure employment conditions may be starting to be accepted and normalised to the extent that they feel that they're not staying in one position for too long can be both liberating and adaptive. This is certainly the case for Robin, as she was able to make herself adaptable to fit into the criteria in which employers were looking for, especially as a graduate seeking employment within the radio industry. Stuart Cunningham goes on to say traditional art occupations are the least remunerated or salaried and most likely to be self-employed and precarious. A link can be made from this idea to Robin's experiences. She went into the industry uncertain and unaware what opportunities could arise and ended up self-employed and freelancing. Nicole Cohen, writing in the Journal for a Global Sustainable Information Society, who can be used to back this idea up, quotes Andrew Ross's "nice work if you can get it, life and labour in precarious times" by affirming that cultural workers are experiencing declining material conditions and intensifying precarity, defined as intermittent employability and radical uncertainty about the future, or financial and existential insecurity. Networking and contacts. Robin said that by doing work experience, you can make lots of useful industry contacts. Doing work for free definitely opened up a lot more doors for me because you can make so many contacts, which in a way means you kind of have your foot through the door already. Whereas if you haven't done any free work, to an employer you're just an email address or a phone number, and you can be easily disregarded. If you've done free work or worked elsewhere and people recognise this, you'll be remembered and it will give you the chance to show them what more you can do. This industry is so competitive and you can't afford to not be memorable. In digital radio production, Donald Connolly defines networking as the exchange of information and advice, and notes that at least 80% of the job opportunities that are discovered At least 80% of job opportunities are discovered through networking, and less than 10% of radio jobs ever show up in search engines. This is true for Robin, as her university originally set up the work placement that she took part in at the BBC Radio Essex, and therefore it was because of her university and of her contacts that she was able to get the placement and ultimately ended up getting a job out of it. Social capital opens up more opportunities for you than sitting in front of a job website would. As Chen affirms in the Elsevier Journal, people with diverse, resource-rich networks gain better access to information, influence, social credentials and recognition via their network contacts, as they gain timely access to fresh, high-quality and fine-grained information faster and earlier than less connected people, which can further be translated into economic returns such as landing good jobs or having better ideas. She quotes DiMaggio from Classification in Art, American Sociological Review, and presents the idea that social interactions with diverse network contacts require and facilitate the accumulation of a diverse repertoire of cultural knowledge. Not only does networking and social capital present more career opportunities for you, it also exposes you to new information and ideas that you may not have ever thought of. To conclude, informal processes such as work experiences and working for free are key barriers in terms of getting your foot through the door and getting noticed. Meanwhile, having a degree in the creative industry also opens up doors for you in terms of having prior knowledge about how to work studio equipment, etc. This also means that freelancers like Robin, and even graduates who are collecting contacts from work experiences, This also means that freelancers like Robin, and even graduates who are starting out in this field, have to utilise their social capital to excel in potential job opportunities. Collecting contacts from work experience, free work and projects will work in your favour in the long run in order to accumulate advice, ideas and even jobs. Thank you for listening.